Welcome to the channel. I'm Stacy, and my goal here is to help you to play better and sound better in your worship services. If you've noticed, even if you haven't noticed, it's been a couple of months since I posted anything here. As far as new stuff, I've put out some shorts, and then the last 2 weeks I've been able to put out my Sunday morning in-ear mix. But this is the first video where I'm sitting in front of the camera, and I just wanted to give you a background explanation as to why. On June 15th, we lost our youngest son, Cody, to an accidental overdose. A friend of his brought him into the hospital unresponsive. And we spent the rest of our Father's Day and then that following week with him in the hospital while they had him on dialysis to bring his organs back to where they could be viable for donation. He had suffered quite a bit of lack of oxygen. And so anyway, they were able to do that. They were able to donate his heart, his lungs, and both kidneys to people that were in need of that life-saving transplant. Cody loved the Lord, and it just goes to show you that good kids can make dumb decisions, and we're just walking through the consequences of that. Cody was the youngest of four. He had an older sister 2 years older than him, and then two older siblings, an older brother and an older sister. They all loved him, and we all loved him. And so it's just been hard. I did send an email out that week, letting anyone subscribed know what was going on. And I put a couple of, just brief posts on social media. I got reached out to by a lot of you, and I just thank you so much for the encouragement and the prayers. From the email, there were a handful of you that reached out that had been through the same thing. And so it's a tragedy that no one wants to go through, and it's just far too common. And I hope it comes to an end soon. One of the challenges I face is that Cody lived at home. And my studio is downstairs in our house, and his bedroom and bathroom were immediately upstairs above my studio. And so when I'd be in here doing things, learning songs or dialing in presets, I'd hear the hustle and bustle of Cody getting up and starting his day. And we'd fight over who gets to make espresso next. I'd find myself out there in the kitchen right when he got in there. And so it's just hard, just the silence of the house. Just feels weird. It's been difficult to get in front of the camera again, but my wife encouraged me and said, you need to do it. So here I am, just pushing through and trying to share my experiences, both good and bad. And I hope it's helpful to somebody. I did get a GoPro for Father's Day, and I'm able to record those services. And it brought up a question about kind of specifics on how these tones are dialed in. So I'm going to walk you through how I have everything set up for Sunday. And as long as there's something of interest each week, I'll keep this going. And if it gets to where it's the same content every week, I'll find a different way to share stuff. So anyway, this week we did the song Jehovah, and we got 3 songs. So we did Jehovah, Firm Foundation, and Thank You, Jesus, for the Blood. And I played rhythm for Jehovah and for Firm Foundation. And so I just want to walk you through how I have things set up. On the HX Stomp, I've got all the blocks filled. I'm running 2 amps, each with their own cab. The first block, I have a chorus effect that I used for verse 2 on Jehovah. And then I have the effects block, the stereo loop, the effects loop with the flashback delay, the jet, eternity, and revelation, their delay and reverb. And then I have a noise gate. That loop can get a hiss, and the sound tech was hearing it. And so rather than him having to figure out if it's me every time, I just put that gate on it just to give him a quieter signal from my rig. From there, I'm going into those 2 amps. I'm running a Cali Texas Channel 1 with its, I believe it's a 1x12 cab. And then the Grammatico Tweed, which is a Tweed Deluxe with its 1x12 cab. And then I've got the simple EQ to bump the holy mid-range, which is 777 hertz. I'm bumping that 1.5 decibels. I'm bumping the low frequency, the low gain at 1 decibel and the high gain at 2.5. And that just gives me a little bit more dimension, just kind of final touches on my tone. On the board, I'm running a compressor, the Boss CS3. And you can see I have it set up with a pretty low sustain, and then the level is just to get unity. So before we get into that, here's the sound of just the amps. There's no effects. The delay and reverb are off. And this is just what the Cali Texas Channel 1 and the Tweed sound like. So here's just the amps. with the compressor. You can hear there's just a slight change, but what it's doing I like, and so we got that going. And then the signal chain goes through the Soul Food Signa Drive ODR-1. This is a rack clone into the carbon, and that's going into the volume pedal and then into the front end of the Stomp. But the always on is the carbon, and here it is without and then with. So you can hear when that comes on, it gets a little bit thicker. I've got the gain down pretty low, right near 9 o'clock. But that's how I like that. And then even still, if I pick light, it's light. And then also for those rhythm tones, I got the ODR-1 always on. And just real quick, the drive is at 3.5. Spectrum, which is their tone setting, is at 4, and level is at 3.5. So for Jehovah, I have let's go over here. I don't want to kick the dials on everything. Delay and reverb. Let's get everything dialed in. This was my main setting. I'm just chugging on the A string at the 2nd fret for the verses, and then I've got big chords I'm doing on the chorus. And for the verses, it just sounds like this. And then when the chorus hits, I go to a little bit of a louder repeat. And then for verse 2, I'm back to the lighter repeats, and I kick on the chorus just to give a little bit of a synth tone to that part. That's all I use that for. So that's basically what I did as far as the tones I had set up for Jehovah. The next song we did is Firm Foundation. And I did some swells. I needed a cleaner tone for that song. So for that, I just rolled my volume back on the bridge pickup. And so it sounded like this. I just rolled it back to about 7. I do have the effect on my tape delay, that warble up quite a bit. I like that for the movement it gave me. But for that song, I'm doing a lot of swells in the beginning. And then a little bit less reverb and delay. Getting into one of the verse sections. And then when it does need to get big, I just roll that volume up. I love those big chords. The next one that we did is Thank You, Jesus, for the Blood. And for this one, I played slide. So I turn off the ODR-1. I turn on my rack clone. You see I've got the volume. Let's see, volume is here at noon. Filter, which is a similar way of dealing with EQ as Spectrum on the ODR-1. I have that just past noon. And then drive or distortion is right around 10 o'clock. And so for that song, I would swell for the intro. We have pianos going, and just to add a little bit of atmosphere, I would just fret the A string, not fret it, pick the harmonic of the A string at the 12th fret. Also, I'm using the middle pickup position. Just kind of going back and forth there between that harmonic and the fretted A note on the G string 14th fret, following whatever the keyboard player was doing, making sure that I landed on those notes when they were relevant. And then when the chorus comes in for that song, I'd kick it on to a light reverb, light delay setting, and that would sound like this. Since I covered slide on that one, that's basically it. I either had swells coming in for the verses. I did small things around the 14th, 15th fret, the D or the A chord, the D chord, and then kind of referencing my E notes down here on this E shape. And that got me through the song. Greg covered the rhythm on that one. Always does a great job, whether he's playing rhythm or lead. So it's always fun to trade parts with a great player. I think that's it. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, subscribe and hit that like button for good measure. There are a handful of downloads free for you in the description box below. There's also links to resources, including presets and tabs. You can get those in bulk. There's bulk discounts on all those pages, and also a couple of subscription options for you for HX Stomp, for Helix, and for tabs only. Also, let me know in the comments, do you run the same rig every week? Do you change it depending on the songs you're doing? Do you change it depending on the guitar you're playing? Or do you change things just to keep it fresh? All right, I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one.